We are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But that's not entirely true.
Self-esteem is an individual's subjective evaluation of their own worth.
Nee, aber nett.
Feeling good enough is not just about letting go of your insecurities and gaining a healthy self-esteem. Actually, having a healthy self-esteem serves as a gateway to further development, because you start becoming more authentic and expressing yourself, who you truly are. Because you don't wonder, oh, what do other people think about me? Am I good enough? This question just gets blown away because you just think about, hey, who am I? How can I express myself? And this is what we're going to talk about here in this documentary, to talk about self-esteem in a depth that I've not seen it before anywhere else. And I think to get started, to get a first impression also, we just ask some strangers what they think about it.
About my self-esteem, it's pretty high. I feel great about myself. I mean, it depends on what kind of day it is, to be honest. I sometimes wake up early in the morning and I feel like shit, but sometimes I feel great. You know, it really depends on how I wake up.
I'm good. Yeah, I feel good about myself.
At the moment?
Ja?
At the moment, I think maybe some people has better self-esteem than me. I don't know why.
I think currently my self-esteem and my self-worth is to a level okay, but there's so many factors around us so many factors around me that have made me question who I am, whether I'm doing the right thing, whether I'm worthy enough. But
yeah, I'm satisfied with the level of self-esteem I have. Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like my self-esteem is like that high. Yeah, I feel like my self-worth is coming from the outside and not the inside.
The internal and the external part of the self-esteem. Psychologists explicitly talked about this, specifically Abraham Maslow. I will actually mention this guy a little bit more throughout the documentary because he talked so much also about self-esteem, and he came up with this pyramid of needs that you step by step go through different stages of desire and different needs you want to fulfill, and at some point there is this self-esteem stage and you want to master this to grow and develop even further. And he divided this part explicitly into those two stages: the external self-esteem, so what do other people think about me, what is your reputation, but also the internal self-esteem, so your sense of freedom and strength and achievement, right? And this also depends on something. So both parts are explicitly important here. And let's now go a little bit deeper and ask strangers, what do their self-esteem depends on?
Oh, my self-esteem, I think definitely depends on my performance.
Success, I think. Success in school. Things you find important in life, things you spend a lot of time in. And when they go well, you feel well.
And then you have so many other people around you and they're like passing their exams. You're like, what am I doing wrong? I've been studying over and over again, but I'm like, okay, maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe
if someone would tell me, oh, your hair is so nice today, or you know, like something like that, then it could boost a little for a little while, but it has quite a short effect. It won't last for a month, I think, unless it's something really meaningful to you.
I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It really depends on weather, it depends on the people that I'm around, it depends on like what time at university it is.
Yeah, if it's like exam week.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. I think also the appreciation of others
what the people I care about, what they think about me, I think that's really important how I feel about myself. I want the people that I like to like me. Yeah.
For me, I'm doing pretty good with my results on school, so I think that's a very big reason for my high self-esteem at the moment.
The same reason for me, school's going fine. I have a good relationship with all my friends, with my family, so really have nothing to worry about at the moment, and I think that's a great reason to have a good self-esteem.
You know, it can be affected by so many factors, which are indeed exterior. I mean, it's always a kind of a combat, a fight between what you think of yourself and what, I don't know, what pressures you get from society.
It's a constant struggle in the end. Right. I question my self-esteem
all the time.
You question it a lot, and
you can have it, but you still question it.
No, you should, because it's kind of something which makes you a better person.
This was actually also a really nice discussion, which concluded that caring about other people, what they think about you, is normal. If you don't, you're a liar or a psychopath, and you can question yourself with a healthy self-esteem. Though Abraham Maslow also realized while interviewing hundreds and thousands of people who seem to be also self-actualized or have tendencies to self-actualize, that they become more and more independent of what other people think about them. Even about their internal self-esteem, about their achievement and strength. They seem to not play this if-then game. If I achieve a lot, if other people like me and approve me, and I have a nice reputation, then I'm good enough, I have a healthy self-esteem. No, they rather let go of that. They are also fine with swimming against the stream and being unpopular. And the question now is, I mean, this is the holy grail. How do we get there? How do we get this healthy self-esteem? And before we go into that, actually I want to show you some clips of people who achieved apparently the self-esteem. They achieved all the things they wanted, they have a nice reputation, but they still did not end up at this fully healthy self-esteem. And then afterwards we continue and go actually into how to get a healthy self-esteem.
When people say, oh, I want to be like you, I want to be an actor, I want to look like you, the question I always ask them is why? Like, really, why? And people, and especially in America, this idea of fame, that to be famous means that you're successful, that you're happy.
When those things came, the happiness wasn't there, and I realized why that was. There was such an attempt to achieve these things and to keep going that you lose sight of the people and the blessings that you have around you.
It's deceiving at times, you know, because people think the two equate.
Yes.
You know, to each other, and they don't, right?
You have a lot of money.
It's up, yeah.
And
I have a lot of happiness, but that doesn't mean that the two equate to each other.
Has your happiness risen at the same amount as your bank account?
No. That's the thing. They don't
equate, or they're not tied in any way.
They're not tied to each other.
Wow.
I mean, it allows you freedom and it allows you to go places where you can smile and look at the sunset and things like that. That's what you choose to do and you enjoy to do.
Right.
But there are a lot of people with tons of money who are unhappy because either they become a prisoner of their money,
right,
or they become so consumed with getting money that they don't allow time for happiness.
So to quickly sum up, those people, they had the external self-esteem. People loved them, they had the reputation, and they also had the internal self-esteem to a certain degree. They achieved a lot, they had a sense of strength and freedom, and still they did not feel like they had a healthy self-esteem. They did not feel good about themselves. Well, those two tools of achieving a lot and getting reputation, they work to a certain degree. But if you misinterpret those and think this is the only thing I need to play, this if-then game, if this and this happens, then I feel good enough, then you will end up miserable. It's like a hole that you're trying to stuff with all this effort, but it's never getting filled. And then this helplessness kicks in. You think after all those years of effort and work and achievement, I still don't feel good enough. This is learned helplessness, and this puts people into depression or into a crisis. And at some point they maybe understand, oh, this is not the right strategy. I'm trying to get so much here, but I'm just maybe getting a little bit more freedom and money, but not the happiness and the self-esteem that I expected. And then you see other people around who are just mediocre. They are doing fine, but they do have an extraordinary healthy self-esteem, which just shows you that a self-esteem is more of a psychological achievement and less of something that you only get from the outer world, something that you need to achieve. Now, what would be advice to actually let go of this if-then, constantly playing this if-then game, right? Again, to a certain degree, it is healthy to build a healthy reputation, that people accept you to a certain degree and you also have a sense of achievement. It's important. But at some point, you have to let go of that and go beyond that. And this is actually the first point, having a re-evaluation of success. A lot of people are able to do this after having a burnout, after achieving all those millions. Those people, they get it because they truly feel into it and they realize there is much more to that. Maybe having a healthy self-esteem means to surround yourself with the people you love, appreciate what you have. This is maybe more giving me a healthy self-esteem. So re-evaluating, what does that mean for you? What does success mean for you? And this actually kicks in with the second point, is surrounding yourself with a healthy social circle. Not with people you always feel like you have to achieve something and you have to do something in order to be good enough, but with people who accept you as you are, who know you really and who love you for who you are. And this gives you the feeling of like, oh, I'm already there. I'm good as I am. I don't need to perform and play any games. I'm right here. I arrived already. This is my tribe. This is where I can be myself. Very important. Another tip, I really love this one, is that a lot of people, they play this external game. If then, today I have to give a presentation. If I give a healthy and amazing presentation, a great presentation, then I'm good enough. So the rule, whether they're good enough, is external. They though can just switch this up into something internal, which they can always meet, independent of their performance. So when I give a presentation, I'm more like, okay, I'm the person who's caring the most. Maybe I'm not the one who's giving a perfect presentation, but I care the most and I can improve and I can learn. And nobody can take this away from me, right? So letting go of all those external rules, going into the internal, be like, hey, I give the most, I care the most, and I improve and I learn. And independent of what is happening outside, I'm still this person, right? So nobody can take away this self-esteem from me. I'm not telling myself, oh, today I have to read 50 pages. No, but I'm telling myself, I'm the one who's today diligently working and caring the most and really putting the input in there. This is already giving you a shift that you don't feel so much you're dependent on something else, because this is then when you become anxious and don't feel good enough because it depends on something outside. And lastly, it's the insight that reality is just focused attention. You can never see everything, and a lot of people, they just, also one of the successful people here said this, your attention is so much on achieving more, instead of shifting this attention towards what you already have, the people that you're surrounded with, being grateful for what you have, for what you already achieved. Think about your achievements in the past, what you already did, and maybe this also helps you to a certain degree to accept that you're good enough, that you're a competent person. You can also let go to a certain degree of that and get over this and just feel good enough as you are, because you already know, I'm fine, I'm doing fine. Those are some of the 4 tips. So re-evaluating your success. What does success mean for you? Surrounding yourself with healthy people. Setting more those if-then rules into something internally that is coming from inside, that is independent of the results, and focusing on your past successes, which is to a certain degree still important and healthy, but you have to let go of those achievements and what other people think about you at some point. At the beginning it's important, later it becomes less important. Now, there is still a missing factor actually, which is your childhood. We talked about this being good enough, this if-then game, But apparently in your childhood, you learn that you're good enough as you are. You experience this unconditional love if things are going right. And I think we just want to listen to some people about their childhood and understand how the childhood can interplay in giving you a healthy self-esteem.
Big time.
Yeah.
I really feel big time. Because I came from
everything.
Struggling family, like
Same.
a really bad family actually. So I really feel that it has a lot of influence, especially when you're younger. Because you're not aware of how that can influence you. Like now that you're more of an adult, you notice how it influences you.
Quite a lot, actually. Yeah. I mean, that's been one thing I've been realizing right now. We had like more time to reflect. That growing up, I mean, I had a mother who was really like focused on me doing good. A lot of times it was, I don't know, like comparing, the results I got with other people, or sometimes, especially the response when you don't get a good, like something good back.
But I feel like my parents always accepted me as I am and said I'm always of value and they will always love me even when I do things which are against their values.
I was always able to speak on my feelings and how I felt and what was my opinion, and it could be different in theirs.
I think that in the first 12 years you get that self-esteem from your loving parents and family, generally, right? Not for everyone probably, but for many people I think that applies. And even though your body doesn't meet the picture or your intelligence doesn't meet the picture, there's still some, let's say, unconditional love that can generate, let's say, a basic level of self-esteem. But if you get older, get into puberty, high school, then you suddenly need it from peers you don't know yet, and suddenly you need to make a good first impression so that people like you, and when they like you, your self-esteem grows. When it doesn't, you start having these negative affirmations like, see, I'm not good enough.
They loved us so deeply, and that I think is just to know what it feels like to be loved, to know how to love and how to be loved is such an important thing. And they really showed us, my sister and I, how to do that.
We are human beings, not human doings. It seems like people who experienced a healthy childhood, they, on the one hand, got a great education on how to be a good human being, but on the other hand, paired with that, there was this feeling of, hey, I'm good enough as I am. And if you experience an unhealthy childhood and people or your parents raised you in a way that you always need to achieve something, they judge you and they reject you if you don't do good enough, then you become anxious and scared. Actually, this is also really affecting the way you have relationships with other people. If you always feel like, oh, I can get rejected and I need to be good enough that people like me, then you become more anxious to open up, to truly open up, be real, be yourself, and this is really hindering you from having deep, profound connections. Also, falling in love is just already, as the word is saying, you're falling. It has nothing to do with control. You're opening up, you become vulnerable, but you will be anxious to be vulnerable because you know that you can be rejected. And this is so really hindering you to get really profound connections with others because you're always afraid of, oh, do I get rejected or not? Right? So having a feeling and a sense of unconditional love, and I am good enough as I am. I don't need to do anything for that. I'm not doing good. I am good enough. This insight is so profound and so deep. And if you can get this during the childhood, that's amazing. You can also obviously get this later on. It's a bit more work, putting effort into this, reflecting on things, putting effort into changing your thinking patterns. But a healthy childhood is probably the best foundation that you can actually get. And I'm not saying that only your parents are responsible for that. There are also other circumstances in life that can hit you, other people that you experience throughout your childhood, also maybe some minor situations that you maybe misinterpret. There can be dozens of reasons why you at some point maybe have a skewed picture of reality and maybe you feel more anxious so you don't just feel good enough. Now, actually, another dimension that adds into it, especially the last decade, is social media.
And on social media, all lives of all people, yeah, exactly. It seems so perfect, but and you know, at least I know in the back of my head, that those people are real people too, and they are sad, they have emotions, they are not constantly happy and not constantly perfect in makeup and hair and outfits.
They have their bad days too, so
of course, but you don't really see that, so that is but it's sort of changing, at least the people that I follow on social media, they are sharing more real things. That's good.
Yeah, I think self-esteem is really influenced by all media and everything, and all young girls want to be really thin and look fashionable, and that's like a really bad topic, but I think this is getting better in this time because you're more open-minded and social media. A lot of people are like real and showing like bad pictures, good pictures, the angles and everything, and that the youth that's growing up at the moment is growing up in a more realistic world than.
And I compare myself a lot to other people, and that's not good for your self-esteem. You shouldn't do that, but I do that quite quickly, and I think that's something I should forget about, but sometimes it's just in you. It's
if you see a lot of girls with bikini perfect bodies, you think, oh, I don't look that way, you know, but
not a scratch on their body.
No, but I let that go. You're not perfect, and they spend a lot of time taking the best pictures, and I got other things to do. I spend my time with my friends instead of making thousands of pictures of myself. So.
And I try to compare myself with real people, and then I see, everyone has flaws.
No, that's true. But social media has a lot of influence, I think, on younger people, mostly on younger people.
So I think we can really compare social media with social comparison. We have this deep-rooted need of comparing ourselves with peers, especially people who have the same age who we can relate to. This is most important. And if we realize, oh, we're not doing as good as other people who are similar to us, this is when we feel bad about ourselves. And in the 21st century, the century of social media, we can within a second, within an instant, compare ourselves to the best in the world. You can go on YouTube, directly find the YouTube channels with millions of subscribers, and then you feel bad about themselves because they're your age and they have millions of subscribers and you just have so few. I've definitely fallen for that. And then you can feel bad about yourself. So be careful with what you consume, what you attach yourself with, what you desire. And we talked about this before, this endless striving that you again need to do more and achieve more. Well, going on social media is helping you really to backlash and falling into those old patterns of, oh, I'm not good enough, I need to achieve. Playing this if-then game all the time. It's hard for you to stay on track, on having this healthy growth and letting go of the social comparison. And by the way, males, they more define themselves in regard to what they achieve in life, and women more define themselves regarding their looks. So how they look like. Do they look perfect and beautiful? Definitely there's some change over the decades, but there's a trend, and girls compare more themselves with all the beautiful women in the world, and men with all the successful men in the world. Now, what is helping here a little bit is that you're not falling for this excessive consumption, always hanging on social media, always comparing with the people, because there are always people who are better than you, and on social media you just see this all day long. And then what also really helps, according to research, just talk with your friends about those things. Get down in the real world, talk with real people. This will actually bring you back to earth and helps you to have a healthy self-esteem. And again, this is connected to what we previously said, surround yourself with a healthy social circle. Talk to them, live your life, and not just hang on social media all day long.
Travel.
Yeah,
travel.
That's the one for you.
Yeah, for me, like my coping mechanism is traveling, and just I feel like if you grow up, for example, in a toxic environment, or you feel that you're getting overwhelmed, you should travel, because especially alone, to places that you don't know, places that you don't speak the language. Yeah, my coping mechanism is really just challenging myself all the time.
I really like clothing when it comes to self-esteem, and honestly, just wear whatever you want. It's important to wear whatever you feel like makes you feel better, and clothing is a really big part of it.
Then you can always like either move a place, change your, I don't know, study, like environment, just travel a bit. You can do things, so just do it.
From there, I actually like started meditating, and that also really helped me in accepting how I was. And I think that was the turning point for me.
Actually, what helped me a lot is with theater. You know, in French we say la peur du ridicule, and it's like the fear of somebody laughing at you. And by doing, like, it's kind of forcing you not to be, you know, to kind of not be scared to be yourself in a way. It was weird because you're playing a role and it's something ridiculous, but then in the end it helps you in public to just, you know, like be yourself and not be scared of what other people might think. And actually it worked really well with me. I got like confidence, I got good friends, and that just helped me build my confidence, and then that went on.
I would say find your tribe, because maybe not everyone is as blessed as we were in terms of family, but you know, there's someone for everyone out there. There are different types of freaks everywhere. So find your tribe, find your freaks. Like, support yourself with positive friends.
And don't be
with
shy.
you.
Don't be shy to talk about these things, because I think sometimes you hide because you feel bad and you feel like, no, I don't want to show this to the world. But sometimes you need to do that, and you realize like people are also feeling the same, and that helps a lot. So
and being with the people you love, that makes also my self-esteem going up.
Give yourself a chance. Yeah, I would say if, that would be a good closing word, a resume. Yeah, give yourself a chance.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I use it for the documentary?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you very much.